Instantly.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bold, Brave Conversations with Mai Vu and my guest today, Darla Mersman. I'm so excited
Hello,
to
everyone.
be bringing you this conversations because I have known Darla for several years now, and I have witnessed her through the worst and now the best as she recovers. So I'm so excited to talk about this conversation. And for those of you who are new to my channel, Bold Break Conversations is my baby, my heart work, where I want to talk to women around the world of their ordinary life, the things that they just go through. Uh, it doesn't seem like a lot to them, or sometimes it could bring a lot of shame or judgment inside them about their own journey. But when I hear of their stories and what they have been through, to me, it's such an honor to call it your bold, brave journey. And I want to capture these stories so that we can all be inspired by these beautiful women. And also, my goal is that when you hear these stories, you will start to be able to look at your own stories and see how bold and brave you have been or you are, and to give yourself a little more love and celebration. So, join me today as I chat with Darla on her bold and brave journey of going from being
Psych-
a
yes, a psychotherapist.
I wanted to say world-renowned psychotherapist, so that might be a little bit much, but for this world, right? Like you were a very
Yeah.
important, you serve a very important role in the militaries for the United States as their psychotherapist for all the soldiers who have encountered trauma in this whole process of war. And you've helped so many people and listened to so many stories. And then it happened to you. Do you want to take over and tell us a lot about what happened?
Yeah, I would love to. And first of all, I would love to say that I feel so honored to be a part of the Bold Brave Women community. It's such an honor to be on this podcast with you, and I'm really happy to share my story. Yes, I was working in the military as a psychotherapist and consultant, a mental health consultant, and my brain um, absorbed all of the combat trauma that was coming in as these soldiers were coming back from war year after year after year. And at at one point, finally, about 5.5 years ago, my brain failed me as well,
It
and it
broke.
broke, and
Oh,
it broke.
yeah.
It completely broke. Yeah, it did.
It was
I
awful.
developed. It was horrible. It was a horrific nightmare, really.
I mean,
Um,
I want to give a little snapshot of what it was like from out here. So I got the honor of being Darla's coach at that time, her support system. And then I didn't hear anything from you. And then I started, in our conversation, you started sounding a little out there. Let's just say it, a little out there. And then we kept expanding out there and out there. And then suddenly I hear this horrific news from your family that you had a psychotic episode in Germany when you were there all by
in Germany.
yourself in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that they had to come and rescue you. And I'm holding the circle of prayers and all this stuff. And so that's what it was like out here. Give us a snapshot of what it was like over there. Oh, your families are calling
Over.
in. It's so great to see them. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. And
Okay.
I love your kudos and love your love. And if you have any questions or if you wanted to share something, please let us know. And if you want to jump on and join the conversation, the more the merrier too. Just raise your hand and I can invite you in on the conversation.
Oh, very
Anyway,
fun.
oh no, back to you.
Yeah.
So give us a little snapshot of what it was like when your brain broke down.
Yeah, when my brain broke down, what you guys were seeing is interesting because it was very public. I was posting a lot of things on Facebook, and people
Right.
were re- yes, people, I mean, they just crazy random things that I would post on Facebook, and people were reaching out to me and reaching out to my family and asking, "Oh my gosh, what's happening to her?" And some people understood what was happening. Some of my friends that are psychotherapists as well. And so, I ended up having such a severe breakdown that I ended up in the military psychiatric hospital in
Mm,
Germany by myself.
mm,
Um, I had had a complete meltdown in the middle of the grocery store where I stripped my clothes off because I didn't understand all the way off. I wore a tank top and tights when it was all said and done
oh, at least you had a tank top
because
and
I
tights
couldn't
on
understand.
still.
I know I had my tank top and tights on, but I saw my clothes off in the middle of the grocery store. I didn't understand how to pay for grapes. In my
Mm,
mind, money didn't exist anymore. And so
mm,
I went to pay for these grapes, and the German lady was shaking her head no. So she must not have understood me. But in my psychotic mind, money didn't exist any longer, and I started freaking out about how I was going to pay for these grapes.
mm.
And luckily, the trauma center came in and they coaxed me down from this freezer I was standing on top of, screaming at the top of my lungs, "How do I pay for grapes? I just
Oh.
want to know how to fucking pay for grapes." Um, and they were able to get me down and get me over to, I think, a fireplace, um, and get me warm, and then eventually coax me into the ambulance.
Mm,
And I ended up in the psychiatric unit in
mm.
Landstuhl, Germany. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so I had a brief moment of realization, like, oh my God, I'm in the psychiatric unit. Whoa. But mostly I was delusional in there, and I knew I needed to be in there.
So you were delusional, and yet at the same time, there's a part of you that knew that you needed this help. Isn't that so
I
amazing?
knew I needed that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course, I didn't want to be there, but I also didn't mind. I knew I
Mm,
needed to be safe.
yeah. And what was it like observing yourself going crazy like that?
I had this moment where I almost left my body in the grocery store, and I could see myself unraveling to the point of stripping all my clothes off and screaming at the top of my lungs. And I could see myself doing it, but I had no way to stop it. I
Mm,
couldn't even slow it. It just was a nightmare of a train wreck that had no way of even
mm.
slowing down.
Wow. And if that was the
Yeah.
only time that an episode happened, we could all go, "Phew, thank God that's over." But it was not the only time. That was just the beginning of a wild 2 years, 1 year, year and a
The
half.
first psychotic break lasted almost a year and a half, the first one.
The first psychotic break lasted a year and a half. Holy shit.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And so again, I like this like this is a book, and thank God Darla is writing her book around about her whole journey around this. I'm so excited. What's the book called?
Yes.
From from
The
psychotherapy.
first book is called, yeah, From Psychotherapist to Psychotic.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
anyway, and so this year and a half from the first break, what were some highlight? Let's just call it that.
Say that one more time. What was the
What was
highlight
what
from
was
the
some
first?
highlight from the first in the first year and a half of break? Like where did you end up? What trouble you got into? What was the damages?
Oh, that's why there's three
Oh.
books in the process.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
the first book is about the very first year of psychosis. And it takes up a whole by itself because it was such a nightmare for that whole time in and out of psychotic delusions. And it went from bad to worse. And it got so bad that I was in a complete psychotic break for probably probably about 6 to 7 months. I was completely delusional.
Mm. And was that, no, that was in the time where you end up in San Diego wandering homelessly, right? Or
Nope, that
no,
was
that's the
another
second
time.
one. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's another break. Yeah, that
And
lasted 3 months, four
right,
months.
yes. Oh my God. Um, so I'm just overwhelmed by reliving that and I, 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 I see your mom writing, you know, I'm so proud of her. I have to say that I'm so proud of your whole entire community, along with, I'm so proud of you. Um, but for you, it's more than
Yeah,
proud. It's just kind of like I'm in awe of you. And I'm so proud of your family, of how they rally around you, how hard this was for them. And you know, we're not trained to deal with family members that have a mental breakdown, right? We are on this program of everything's fine, everything should be fine, just make it fine. And then when it's really not fine like this, it's just detrimental. And I only had a glimpse of what you went through while you guys were immersed in this boiling vat of pain and anxiety and worries and shame and all this stuff too. It's just incredible how challenging this has been, not just for you, but for all of you, right? Oh,
yeah,
oh,
for all of us. I mean, including you. You've been a part of that as well, and having to, try to hold space for family and friends all over the world who, I mean, if I wouldn't have had that level of support, I don't know where I would be today. It
yeah.
has been profoundly impactful to me. Every single person, every single community has touched my heart and helped me through
Mm.
this time and time and time and time again.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Um,
And we can tell, it's like, thank God for Facebook, because we can tell when you're about to hit an episode, because your posting get a little erratic, and then it gets a little violence, and there's a lot of rage and anger that comes out, and it's like, oh no, she's going through another episode, you know, and we're rallying behind you. It's like, okay, prayer circle. Okay, what do we need to do? How do we support Amy so that she can, you know, be there for you? How do we support Terry? You know, what do you need? And your mom, how's your mom doing? Oh my God, oh my God. It was just like incredible how
yeah,
so
it's really incredible how many people it actually does take to help support somebody who's going through a severe mental health breakdown. Um, and it's not just the mental part of it that's happening, there's a physiological aspect to it too, where I'm so manic, everything around me becomes just a disaster.
mm,
Physical, my environment is a disaster, things that I go and do are disastrous.
like
So
what?
it's
Can you be
not
more
just,
specific?
yeah, so when I'm manic, I take things apart and I make all of these piles and I try to organize and separate, and it just ends up being a gigantic mess.
Ah,
And that's kind of how I go. And yeah, there's pictures. I have pictures of it to share with people so that they can see what it looks like when somebody is psychotic and their environment reflects that completely. It
mm.
looks like a psychotic mess.
Oh,
And
so it's
then
like
I would,
what's in here shows up outside around you. Yeah.
yes,
And but inside
absolutely.
you're desperately trying to organize, and you're so desperately trying to like get your hands on thing, and the more you try, the bigger mess you make.
Yeah, because, in those messes, I'm trying to plan for all of the bad things that are happening in my brain. So I've got to have
Mm,
knives and I've got to have tools and they might catch me and I might need a sleeping bag to hide out in the woods with. And so what happens in my brain starts to reflect outwardly, and everyone can see what a mess it is.
mm,
And then I loop because my brain is so busy with all of these delusions. I can't get it together to get a shower or get dressed or
mm.
eat or this or that or the other. And then back then, when I was delusional, I would just hop in my car and take off. So my
Ah,
family wouldn't know where I would be. I had delusions about technology, so I would break my phones and people couldn't get a hold of me. I mean, it was a lot.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Ah,
I
yeah.
know.
Well, I'm I'm so deeply grateful that I got to live vicariously through you instead of having my own breakdown. I mean, this sounds super selfish, and I'm totally like owning it. It's like I don't ever want to experience your life journey, but thank you for letting me ride with you so that like anyway, and but what it has done for me is it has changed how I see homeless people. I i don't
Yeah.
I it's like ignorant me, there's still a little voice inside me, a little part inside me that look at homeless people and wonder how did they get here, what's wrong, why couldn't they prevent this and all this stuff. And I watched how you went from making buku money, stable life, traveling around the world, like you were in Okinawa working, how fancy it is, and then you're in Berlin working. And so it's all like things are going well, right? And then boom, immediately you're like homeless and you've destroyed everything and you end up on the street and you're, you know, calling me from a collect phone call that and we don't know what to do
Yeah.
with the phone call and with how do we
Mm-mm.
support. And oh my god, it was just incredible how instantaneous this trauma is to the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah, it just really takes over and takes on a life of its own that is so hard to manage for everyone else, um, because it's when I'm in that state, I am like a wild, rebellious teenager, and I don't give a fuck about anything, and I go and do whatever I want, and I say whatever I want, and I have no control. I have
Mm.
no control. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just imagine your mom. I remember that episode where you were having an episode, and I don't know how you guys were driving from Colorado to California, and then you end up kicking her out of the car in Arizona. And I'm just kind of like, ah, I
Yes.
tell us that
Yeah.
episode. What happened? How did that happen? And then,
Oh my gosh. It was, it's funny because it was my birthday, and
uh-huh.
I had destroyed my technology and made my mom destroy some of hers with a hammer. And we were going, I was wanted to go to California, and I was like, "Mom, you want to go with me?" And she's like, "Sure." I let her keep her phone. But along the journey, my delusions about people close to me had been going on for, already at this point, over a year. And as we're driving along, the story in my mind starts to build about how my mom is part of a satanic cult that wants to kidnap me and torture me and kill me. And
Mm.
the delusions got so bad. We made it to Flagstaff, Arizona,
Mhm.
and it was late and we were so tired, and I said, you have to have your own room, and I got her own room, and I couldn't talk to her, and I was just feeling so traumatized and and triggered by everything with her.
Mm-hmm.
But the backstory in my mind is that she's this really bad person, and I have to get away from her. And so
So you
luckily
are
we
planning
had
your
a great,
escape
I planned my escape. We had a great
from
aunt and
her.
uncle that lived in Flagstaff, and I said, hey, you're going to go with them. You can't get back in
Mm,
my car. But I didn't tell her why. I didn't often share my delusion with people unless they came out.
mm,
I wouldn't say, yeah, Mom, I think that you're a satanic cult member who's going to rip my heart out with a knife.
mm.
I mean, why would I tell somebody that when I think they're going to do that to me? I
Right.
kept all of those thoughts in my head, and so it seemed very irrational to people what I was doing, even though
Yeah.
in my mind there was rhyme and reason to it all.
Yeah. Ah, so so the detrimental effect of having your brain break is
Mm,
your financial disaster, your physical
yeah.
disaster, your relationship disaster, and then talk about. Uh, but that's not the worst thing. What's the worst thing for you in this whole journey that you were talking about?
You know,
The internal stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like the emotional disaster. That's the
Mm,
component that is really difficult to deal with because, um, there's, and I wouldn't say everybody goes through this, but I would say a good portion of people with mental health issues go through such severe shame. And for me, I was so embarrassed about all the things that I had done because, like I said, it was very public. It wasn't like
mm,
this was, nobody knew. Everybody knew.
mm,
Um, and
mm,
to be the one who breaks down like that is just, it felt embarrassing to me. I felt
mm,
embarrassed of my mental health. I felt embarrassed and shameful of all the things I had done. And even I was ashamed and embarrassed about the things that my brain created. Like, I'm embarrassed that I had this delusion.
mm,
Um, so there was that was the depth of it when I was coming out of it the second time,
mm,
both times
mm.
that I had severe breakdowns, was coming out and just feeling the depth of the embarrassment and humiliation of the whirlwind of my psychotic breakdowns.
Yeah. And that's so crazy, isn't it? It's like here you are
Mhm.
going through the worst thing of your life, and yet all the brain could do is create more punishment and more shame instead of compassion and gentleness and love and oh baby, we're going through a tough time right now, just breathe, stay in there. No, we don't have those kind of conversation. We have the other kind of conversation. What is your conversation sound like?
Um, how could I have done that?
Mm,
Why was I not stronger?
mm,
Um, my mind must be weak.
mm.
Um, let's see. I can't believe people saw that
Oh.
and heard that.
Mm,
I can't take any of it back.
mm,
This is who I am now.
mm.
What if people see me at the mental hospital? A lot of shame, a lot of hiding, a lot of embarrassment.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Whew, so painful. And it's just like it's not enough that you have to like now you're on welfare, you're a ward of the
Yep.
state, you have to go to court to what was that? Get expunged? Not a sponge, but
Yeah.
get
Expunged. Yeah.
expunged, right?
Expunged.
Because you had an episode and then you got put in jail and then in psychiatric hospital and then you have to go to court to expunge all that mess and then your your family takes you in, it's like, where do we put Darla, all this stuff, right? And the internal
Yeah.
shame, it's just so painful. It's like, and it's so unnecessary, because I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think your circle, I know I did not think any of that. I didn't think, why weren't you stronger? It sounds so ridiculous, right? Why didn't you do something to protect yourself? That's like, are you kidding me? How can that? But yet that's the internal shame that so painful. And I
Yeah.
think part of
And I remember, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You remember what?
I I was just going to say, I remember the time, and it was about 2.5 years ago when you reached out, and it was an invitation to just kind of start writing and start sharing my story with one of our private groups.
Mm,
And that was so hard to do. It was so hard to push that button and share. It was so
mm,
hard to write it down and not be afraid that somebody was going to see it. It was
mm.
hard.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me, coming from 2.5 years of really having to work through all of those shameful moments. It's been a hell of a journey just to do that.
Yeah. I mean, like, the fact that you're here talking about this live with camera is
Mhm.
incredible, right? And it
Yeah,
took us this long to get here. And you had to
yeah,
like sit there and write and write and write and write so many hours, so many days. It's now like a year that you're in this body of work of putting your story down, and to start healing that shame, to start budging that shame so that you can be here. And I'm so proud of you. It's so beautiful to watch. And that's one of the things that's hard for me to do this show is I don't really want to talk to people who already fixed their problem and who are already gone now, and now everything is pretty, and they look back and they go, oh yeah, that happened to me. It's like, I want to capture what's it like right now going through it, the ups and the
yeah,
downs, and the like, in the muck of it, because it's such a bold and brave journey. And you need so much support. It doesn't matter how much support you need more support. You need the world to hear about your story. You need to be elevated. You need to have energy pouring love into you from every nooks and cranny of the world, to help you keep going, to help you stay upright again, as you struggle with staying upright and getting this
yeah.
mind stable, and not get it upset, and learning to talk about it and undoing all that shame and pain. So beautiful.
Yeah. And that's part of the work too, is it's not over. Like for me,
Mm,
it's a daily practice. It is daily awareness of how I'm doing. It's a constant gauge. Um, and what's it's like walking on eggshells in a lot of ways. Like, don't, don't poke the bear, because we don't know what will happen.
mm,
And there's all of these emergency plans set up that I have in place, just in case this, just in case that, as best as I can do, so that should I get another PTSD trigger, I have medications on hand, I have people on board, and, it's a container to hopefully help support me should this happen again. Because,
yeah.
we thought we were in the clear at one point.
Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
The gift that keeps on giving. And who knew I would need another book just to cover the second one?
I realized as I'm listening to you that I want to do another episode, part two, and I want to invite your circle, to come on, and we can have a larger conversation, because I realized that it's not just you that have been going through a bold and brave journey, but your
Right.
mother, your sisters, uh, different sisters, and your daughter, and your friends, whoever wants to, who who's listening and watching this right now, if you feel compelled and would like to come back with us and talk about your journey, what's it like to support someone who has a mental health breakdown, because this is such an important conversation that we need to bring out there to the world so that other people who are going through their own mental breakdown, or the families of people that going through mental health breakdown, that they could feel supported, they can feel the love, and maybe even learn or share some experience with each other. In fact, you actually are building a community of people who are going through this, right? So if you're watching this and you
Yeah.
know of someone else who are going through this, please contact Darla or via me. She's and I are like this, so I'll forward it to her or contact her personally, because you can join her Facebook group. What is the Facebook group called, honey? Thank you, Amy.
From
We'll bring you on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Facebook group is From Chaos to Clarity, and it is a mental health forum that anyone can join and be a part of. And that doesn't have to be just people who have experienced mental health issues, but it's so important for family and friends to have support themselves, and even just acknowledgement like, wow, that's a hard road to walk with somebody who has severe mental illness.
Yeah, right. Because part of
Yeah.
what's challenging about going through something like this is you share it with people who don't know, who haven't been through. Then they say stupid things like, "Well, have you tried this?" And you just want to say, "Fuck you, stick this up, just get the hell out of my face," kind of thing. So I imagine that when you join Chaos to Clarity, you will you'll be supported, and you won't
Yeah.
have stupid questions back that seem to be blaming the victim, blaming the situation,
Yeah.
blaming the right.
Right.
So from
Yep.
chaos to clarity. Nicole from Hawaii is watching
Yes.
us. I wanted to say shout out to all of our friends who are watching and commenting. Thank you, Nicole and Patty Mays. I love you so much. Patty Mays is a co-conspirator of mine. She also does her podcast out there, and she's also a coach like us, and she's amazing. So thank you so much for listening and commenting and championing out there. I can't comment back for some reason. This thing doesn't allow me to, but I can I can read out your name. And of course, Amy, the great Amy. Amy that is such a mainstay supporter of Darla. And then there's Darla's mom, Barbara. Hi, honey. And I'm sure Terry is watching, but I don't see her here, but
She's
I'm pretty
in
sure she's
Denver.
watching. Oh, she's in
Yeah.
Denver. Yes, and
Yeah.
I don't know
She'll
who
have to catch us on
Stardust
the
Seed
other side.
is, but hello, Stardust Seed. And also,
It's
Alyssa, her
Kimmy.
beautiful daughter, is there too.
Oh,
And
hi, Boo.
oh, it
Hi,
must be
everyone.
so
I can't
hard to
see the
watch.
comments, but yeah.
It must be so hard to watch your mom going through this. So yeah, I would love to have all you guys, you know,
Do a,
this
yeah. Wouldn't that
yeah
be fun?
do part 2 on what's it like to be the part of the system that support someone who's going through a mental health breakdown, and it literally changes your life forever. This is not a one-time thing. It's now a new normal, and it's hard. It's hard on everyone, and there's never enough love and appreciation. So it's so important that you create circles that knows how to love and appreciate each other, to buoyant you up so that you can be bold and brave and strong to support someone like to support yourself and your family members. And I just such an amazing lesson of love and practice of love that we get to do. Let's see what this Miss. Hi, Darla. Joy to meet you on this auspicious day with strong gust of wind blowing away the stuff. Oh,
Oh,
yay.
that's so sweet. That's your friend Patty. Oh, hi,
Yes.
Mama.
And this is Alyssa. Hi, Mama. Hey, May. She is and always been the strongest woman I know, right? I have got to have a bold, brave woman badge so that, like, if anybody's watching this and you're a graphic designer, could you design me a Bold Brave Woman badge so that I can like bestow it and honor people on the journey that we all
Gu-
walk? Just so
Guess who does
painful.
that? Guess who does that? Amy and Chrissy.
Me and Christy, we need a Bold Brave Woman badge. And then your
Bold Brave
mom,
Woman
but
badge.
I think the original Bold Brave Woman is your mom. She's so
Oh,
when my daughter, I have only one daughter, and when she was little and I put her in daycare and it wasn't working, I was so stressed. I was a fucking mess because I love her so much and I just want to protect her. And so I can't imagine what it's like to be your mom going through this and watching you go through this. It's like, Mom, you're the
oh,
best. You're the
yes.
bomb. I love you. Oh, beautiful. All right. So,
All right.
Amy said, yes, I'll make the badge. That's so great. Thanks, Amy.
Yes.
Okay. So, let's see a few parting words. What should be our parting words? Um,
Well, what I would like to say is, if there is someone out there either going through mental health issues or a family member or someone supporting someone, don't give up. Keep getting help, keep finding resources, you know, continue being creative with the safety planning because ultimately it is worth it and it can pay
mm,
off.
so safety planning, a new word for for
Safety
us, right?
planning. Safety
Safety
planning.
planning,
Yep.
and just know that it's not a one-time episode. It's a marathon ride for a long time, and it requires so much gentleness and care, and more gentleness and acceptance of what is happening. So if you have a hard time accepting and having gentleness, please contact me. I am really good at helping you find that space inside that you can accept yourself and accept what's happening, not shooting you. Should is a different thing. But really, we have to show you how to really accept what is happening, so that you can have the strength and the juice to support and go through something so life changing like this. And the worst thing is, crazy enough, it's not just the physical breakdown, it's not the financial breakdown, but it's the emotional breakdown and the unnecessary shame that you put on yourself. Please don't do that. If you're doing that, again, join our Bold Brave Women private group and write about it, talk about it, so that you can let go of the shame. The shame does not help your mental healing. It actually will make
No.
it worse, right? That's what all that angst and all that thing comes out. We didn't know how to dissolve the shame and the anguish, so then it becomes an episode, and so much anger is built up in there. You were going to say something,
Well,
Amy?
I think that's what a lot of this is about is, helping people to recognize that this is what we have conditioned our society to believe about mental illness. And we're going to take that back and we're going to shine a light on it and we're going to show people that this is not just those people over there. It affects us in different ways. If it's a friend, a colleague, a family member, or yourself, we are all touched by mental illness in some way, shape, or form. And, I wish I would have had the love for myself a few years ago that I have now. So, don't hold on to that shame and silence. It will just
Yeah.
continue to fester. Bring it
And that,
out. That's what helped
right.
me be in community, write about it, be witnessed by people, and May is the best at loving people up and teaching you to love yourself.
So join my community, both, right? You're welcome to join. It's
Yep.
free, and join Bold Brave Women, and also join From Chaos to Clarity, and hang out with Darla, and know that you are
Yeah.
with someone who really understands you. Darla is finishing of her book. It should come out next year or at the end of this year, as much as
This year,
possible.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and if people are moved by you and want to support you, how do they do that? I know this is a
Um,
question that put you on the spot, but I'm like, yeah, what if somebody just like really want to support you and publish a book
right.
or get back on your feet? How would they do that?
So I do have a Patreon page,
Ah,
and I need to get that posted. I haven't posted it yet. So, get in touch with me, through, from chaos to clarity through May. I would always appreciate the support. I'm funding this book myself, and on my Social Security and disability budget, it's not the easiest. So I would appreciate
yes.
any support. But yeah, I
Right.
have a
She has a
Patreon
Venmo
page, and
account
it's
too.
going to be
So
active.
if you wanted to give her some money and you want to maintain anonymity, contact me, let me know. If you wanted to give her directly, please contact her. She so needs the support. We all do, and it's a beautiful thing. And Jim Cavera, I don't know you yet, but I didn't say
Oh,
hi.
we
So
love
thank
Jim.
you for saying that, for sticking around. Last but not least, I had something that's very important I was going to do before we sign off. Um, Contact Darla, join Darla. Oh shit. Aging brain.
I know, I got it too.
Anyway, enough for today. Oh gosh, I know I'm gonna like remember what that is when I'm done, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's the thing. You're supported, and I'm
That's
helping
the
you. Oh,
one.
thank you.
Well, we're going to do part two. We're going to do part two. So if it comes to mind, then we'll have that question for the next go round. Oops. And we lost May.
Sorry, I pushed some button and then I took myself out. Anyway, okay. So thank you, everyone. Part two. We will have to
Thank
get
you.
a scheduling with everyone else that see what's a good date. But we will make the announcement. Not to worry. Yes. So
Yeah.
adieu for now, and I will put a comment when I remember what the heck I was going to say or do. Thank you, Donna, so much for. Oh, I remember! Yay! I want all of us who are still here, please give her kudos and give her some feedback on how she appears, because part of the shame journey is judging yourself and like, do I know what I'm talking about? Can I get back? And who am I? I'm a mental patient myself. Can I go on a speaking tour? Can I talk about this? Who am I to write this book? Blah blah blah, all that noise, right? So can you guys just give her some love on like, I love watching you on this show. You are so credible. You're a natural at this, honey. I see you on Oprah's interview, not just on Mai Vu's interview, but so get out there and gently do this. And I will be more than happy to support you in any way that I can, so that we get you comfortably out there speaking about your work, about your experience, and let you
Thank
find your way
you.
to love the world back.
And I couldn't
I,
ask for a better coach in the whole world than you, May. Thank you.
it's an honor, honey. Thank you. All right, everyone. Adieu for now, and
Thanks
I
for
look forward
joining.
to bringing the next Bold Brave conversation to your device. Take care. Bye.